Hi everyone, welcome back to Storytime Recaps. In this video, I'm going to recap one of the film from 2016, Terrifier. Without any further, let's get started. The movie begins with a talk show hosted by Monica Brown, in which she interviews a serial killer survivor whose face has been disfigured as a result of the fatal encounter that happened exactly 1 year ago on Halloween night. According to her confession, the killer was wearing a clown costume, and she witnessed him shoot himself. The host then shockingly adds that the clown's body vanished from the morgue before police could conduct an autopsy. "I witnessed it happen." Then, Art the clown interrupts us by destroying the screen and wearing his costume. He prepares a few sharp items and brings them along. After the show, Monica is in her dressing room, chatting on her phone about how ugly her interviewee was. Little does she know, though, that someone is actually hiding behind her and is probably offended by what she says. It turns out that the interviewee emerges from hiding and viciously attacks Monica, gouging out her eyes to make her look as deformed as she is. The following scene is set on a Halloween night, and it features two friends named Tara and Dawn. They are joking around as they go towards their car, looking a little tipsy from partying. Across the street from them, we see someone walking, and it's Art the clown, who is strangely staring at them. On Halloween night, Dawn finds him attractive, but Tara senses something is strange about him. The next time the two turn to face him, he vanishes. As the night gets older, the two decide to go to a diner because they are hungry. Shortly after, the clown shows up and sits down at a table next to them. He keeps staring at Tara like he's having a happy meal and makes mime gestures, which obviously makes Tara uncomfortable. Dawn is unaware of this because she goes up to him, sits on his lap, and even takes selfies with him. After a while, the clown approaches their table, plays a trick on Tara, and puts a ring on her finger before heading to the bathroom. Observing Art's strange behavior, the diner's owner decides to check on him in the bathroom, where we find out that he smeared his shit all over it, and immediately he gets kicked out right away. When the two women get to their car afterward to head back home, they discover that their tire has been cut, so they have to wait around for Tara's sister Vicki to come get them. When the worker responsible for cleaning the mess returns to the cafe, he searches the restroom for his supervisor. To his surprise, he finds his boss's severed head, which has been fashioned into a jack-o'-lantern. Art mercilessly stabs the unfortunate man in the face to murder him before he has a chance to flee. Now that Dawn and Tara are in the car, they are arguing about Art. Dawn believes that Art is just a harmless guy dressing up for Halloween, but Tara disagrees. After their argument, Tara excuses herself to use the restroom, and she successfully persuades a nearby building employee to let her relieve herself inside the building. Dawn is now alone herself and turns on the radio. She discovers that two restaurant employees were murdered and that the police are looking for a violent black and white clown. With this, she is finally able to piece together that Art is the dangerous clown they're talking about. Sadly, though, it is too late for her because Art has managed to find its way into the car next to her. Tara, on the other hand, had just emerged from the garage restroom when she unexpectedly encountered an odd woman who was holding a doll like a real baby. Terrified, Tara walked to the exit, where she was startled to see Art standing there, seemingly having padlocked the door and grasping the key. When Art jumps at her, Tara retreats and starts to run. She runs as quickly as she can and finds a place to hide for a bit. When Tara goes to warn the building's cleaner, Art surprises her by giving her a sedative injection. The janitor wears headphones, so he isn't aware of what's happening. When she wakes up again, she's strapped to a chair and is startled to see the clown seated next to her. Art starts toying with her right away, taunting her with various weapons like stroking a handsaw over her neck. As soon as Art approaches and removes a sheet, Dawn is seen hanging upside down and only wearing her panties. Art then strips her completely nude before brutally chopping her body in half. While he is preoccupied with severing Dawn in half, the scared Tara fights against her bonds and escapes. She then takes one of his tools and stabs Art in the back before fleeing. This enrages Art, who then grabs a knife and pursues her. However, Tara easily catches him off guard by hitting him with a wooden plank several times. Before Tara can deliver the fatal blow, Art pulls out a revolver and shoots Tara in the knee and then across her face twice before he runs out of bullets, leaving her to die on the ground. When Tara's sister Vicki eventually shows up to pick up the two women, it's at this moment she tries the building's front door, but it's locked, so she tries to contact Tara immediately. Art is currently searching through his weapon bag for more ammo. When he hears Tara's phone ring, as he has both Tara and Dawn phones in his control, he uses Dawn to contact Vicki, informing her that Tara is ill and asking her to come around to the back. The clown then comes back to Dawn, and the two of them take a selfie identical to what Dawn took earlier. Then, after reloading his gun, Art goes back to the dying Tara and shoots her dead, repeatedly shooting her face until it is unrecognizable. The insane woman in the building watches this happen in terror, and Art waved comically at her, terrified. She fled to tell the janitor what was happening, but he doesn't believe her and left. As he descends the stairs, he hears Vicky's voice in the distance. He tries to alert a colleague that something is wrong, but Art ambushes him from behind, smacks him with a hammer, and then smashes his phone. Vicki is now wandering the halls on the opposite side of the building, while the insane woman realizes her baby doll is missing and starts searching frantically. She then spots Art the clown holding the baby doll and approaches him, comforting him by telling him that he still has kindness in his heart. She tries desperately to give Art a motherly embrace in an attempt to plead for her child's return. Not long after, the janitor's colleague shows up due to the previous phone call, but she is unable to enter the building because the doors are locked. Vicki is growing impatient searching for her sister, so she calls Dawn again. This time, she hears Dawn's ringtone and chooses to walk towards it. To her horror, she finds Dawn's partially dead and cut body, which makes her run away in terror. As soon as she hears a girl scream, she goes downstairs to investigate. Thinking it's her sister, she finds a girl on the floor and rushes to help her, only to discover that the girl on the floor is actually Art, who is wearing the crazy lady's scalp. After discovering this, Vicki tries to find an escape, but the windows are sealed, so Art climbs upstairs to look for her while also wearing the crazy lady's mutilated breasts. Realizing that the clown is nearby, Vicki hides inside a wardrobe. Soon after, Art discovers her, but instead of killing her, he chooses to play with her. While this is going on, the janitor's co-worker manages to find a spare key and enters the building. As he makes his way down the empty hall in search of the janitor, he notices bloody footprints on the floor. Curious, he bends down to pick up the bloody doll, but Art suddenly appears from behind him, stabs him in the top of his head, and then decapitates him with another blade. Returning to Vicki, she emerges from hiding and rushes towards the door, only to find it locked just as Art arrives on a tricycle, causing her to hide once more as Art travels in the opposite direction. Vicki sneaks out of the room and down the corridor, but the clown follows her and suffocates her with a plastic bag. Unwilling to give up, Vicki rips the bag and breaks free from his hold, then flees by stabbing him in the feet. The janitor is revealed to be still alive on the opposite side of the building. Vicki stops running upon finding her sister's body and begins to experience an emotional breakdown. This gives Art the perfect opportunity to catch her off guard, and he begins beating her with metal shards, cutting her skin and bruising her face. Fortunately, the janitor rescues her and knocks the clown out as usual. However, he isn't going to ensure that the clown is dead, so he escorts Vicki away into a different room and locks it. He makes a quick call to 911 for assistance, telling Vicki that he will see to it that she gets well. They try to leave the building by exiting out another door, but Art appears and smashes the janitor's face. The only person who is still alive, Vicki, attempts to break the lock on the exit door while watching in fear. Eventually, she succeeds, but the clown catches her from behind, so she stabs him in the eye and flees. Vicki attempts to flee to the garage in search of protection, and succeeds in making a space large enough to squeeze through. Nevertheless, Art still has enough time to grab her by the hair and pull her in his direction. Fortunately, she manages to get away, and the clown immediately vanishes, giving the impression that Art has given up. While she hears the police sirens, she glances outside and sees the clown rams through the door with a pickup truck, striking Vicki and knocking her unconscious. Worst of all, he begins to eat her face as she lay there helplessly. When the cops eventually show up, they aim their guns at Art. However, before the cops can catch the clown, he takes out his revolver, kills himself in front of Vicki, who is still alive, by shooting himself in the mouth. Shortly afterwards, Art's body is taken to a morgue along with the bodies of his slain victims. However, the lights there flicker for a bit when the medical examiner opens Art's bag for an autopsy, revealing that Art the evil clown is still alive. He strangles the person to death. In the following scene, which takes place a year later, we see Vicki with her family. However, when she turns around, her disfigured face reveals to us that she was the woman being interviewed at the beginning of the film. This also helps us realize that the entire murder investigation was a flashback from the year prior. Thanks for watching, and remember to turn on your notifications to watch more movie recaps like this one.